In the beginning, ALUAH created the Shamayim and the earth was formless and void, and darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Ruah of ALUAH was moving over the surface of the waters. Then ALUAH said, "Let there be light." And there was light, and ALUAH saw that the light was good. And ALUAH separated the light from the darkness. ALUAH called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening and there was morning, one day. And ALUAH said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." And it was so. And ALUAH made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And ALUAH called the firmament Shamayim. And ALUAH saw that it was good. And there was evening and there was morning, the second day. And ALUAH said, "Let the water under the Shamayim be gathered to one place, and let dry ground appear." And it was so. ALUAH called the dry ground land, and the gathered waters he called seas. And ALUAH saw that it was good. Then ALUAH said, "Let the land produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants and trees on the land that bear fruit with seed in it, according to their kind." And it was so. And the earth brought forth vegetation, plants yielding seed according to their own kind, and trees bearing fruit in which is their seed, each according to its kind. And ALUAH saw that it was good. And there was evening and there was morning, the third day. And ALUAH said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the Shamayim to separate the day from the night. And let them be for signs and for appointed times, and for days and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the Shamayim to give light upon the earth." And it was so. And ALUAH made the two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night, and the stars. And ALUAH set them in the firmament of the Shamayim to give light on the earth, to rule over the day and over the night, and to separate the light from the darkness. And ALUAH saw that it was good. And there was evening and there was morning, the fourth day. And ALUAH said, "Let the waters bring forth swarms of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the firmament of the Shamayim." And it was so. And ALUAH created the great sea monsters and every living creature that moves, with which the waters swarm, according to their kind, and every winged bird according to its kind. And ALUAH saw that it was good. And ALUAH baruched them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply and fill the waters in the seas, and let birds multiply on the earth." And there was evening and there was morning, the fifth day. And ALUAH said, "Let the earth bring forth living creatures according to their kind, livestock and creeping things and beasts of the earth according to their kind." And it was so. And ALUAH made the beasts of the earth according to their kind, and the livestock according to their kind, and everything that creeps on the ground according to its kind. And ALUAH saw that it was good. And ALUAH said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness. And let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the Shamayim, and over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth." And ALUAH created man in his own image. In the image of ALUAH he created him, male and female he created them. And ALUAH baruched them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the Shamayim and over every living thing that moves on the earth." And ALUAH said, "Behold, I have given you every plant yielding seed that is on the face of all the earth, and every tree with seed in its fruit. You shall have them for food. And to all the animals of the earth, and to all the birds of the Shamayim, and to every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, which has in it the breath of life, I have given every green plant for food." And it was so. ALUAH saw all that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And there was evening and there was morning, the sixth day. Thus the Shamayim and the earth and all their hosts were finished. And ALUAH completed his work by the seventh day that he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work that he had made. And ALUAH baruched the seventh day and made it Kadosh, because in it he rested from all his work, which ALUAH had created and made. This is the account of the Shamayim and the earth in the beginning, when Yahuwah, ALUAH, created the Shamayim and the earth, and there was no shrub of the field yet on the earth, and no herb of the field had yet sprouted, for Yahuwah, ALUAH, had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was no man to till the ground. But a mist was rising from the earth and watering all the surface of the ground. And Yahuwah, ALUAH, formed man from the dust of the earth, and breathed into his face the breath of life, and man became a living soul. And Yahuwah, ALUAH, planted a garden in Eden in the east, and he placed there the man whom he had formed. And Yahuwah, ALUAH, caused to grow out of the earth every tree that is beautiful to look at and good for food, and the tree of life in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from there it was divided and became 4 heads. The name of one is Pishun, which winds through the entire land of Havilah, where there is gold, and the gold of that land is good. Bdellium and onyx stone are there. And the name of the second river is Gihon. It is the one that flows around the whole land of Cush. And the name of the third river is Hatikal, which flows east of Ashur. And the fourth river is Parat. And Yahuwah, ALUAH, took the man and put him in the garden of Eden to work it and take care of it. And Yahuwah, ALUAH, commanded the man, saying, You may eat from every tree of the garden, but from the tree of knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for on the day you eat from it, you shall surely die. And Yahuwah, ALUAH, said, It is not good for man to be alone. I will make him a helper suitable for him. And Yahuwah, ALUAH, formed every beast of the field, and every bird of the Shamaim from the ground, and he brought them to the man to see what he would call them. And whatever the man called a living creature, that was its name. And the man gave names for all the animals and birds of the Shamaim and all the wild animals. But he did not find a helper suitable for him. And Yahuwah, ALUAH, caused a deep sleep to fall upon the man, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs, and closed up the flesh in its place. And Yahuwah, ALUAH, made the rib that he had taken from the man into a woman, and brought her to the man. And the man said, This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and they were not ashamed. But the serpent was the most cunning of all the animals that Yahuwah, ALUAH, had made on the earth. And the serpent said to the woman, Why did ALUAH say, You shall not eat from any tree of the garden? And the woman said to the serpent, We may eat the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the middle of the garden, ALUAH said, You shall not eat it, nor shall you touch it, lest you die. Then the serpent said to the woman, You will not surely die. For ALUAH knows that in the day you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like ALUAH, knowing good and evil. So when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree desirable to make one wise, she took of its fruit and ate. She also gave to her husband with her, and he ate. And the eyes of both were opened, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves loincloths. And they heard the sound of Yahuwah, ALUAH, walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and the man and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahuwah, ALUAH, among the trees of the garden. But Yahuwah, ALUAH, called to the man and said to him, Where are you? And he said, I heard the sound of you in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself. He said, Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree of which I commanded you not to eat? The man said, The woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me fruit of the tree, and I ate. Then Yahuwah, ALUAH, said to the woman, What is this that you have done? The woman said, The serpent deceived me, and I ate. And Yahuwah, ALUAH, said to the serpent, Because you have done this, you are cursed more than all cattle, and more than every beast of the field. On your belly you shall go, and you shall eat dust all the days of your life. And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. To the woman he said, I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception. In pain you shall bring forth children. Your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you. Then to Adam he said, Because you have heeded the voice of your wife, and have eaten from the tree of which I commanded you, saying, You shall not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for your sake, in toil you shall eat of it all the days of your life. Both thorns and thistles it shall bring forth for you, and you shall eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of your face you shall eat bread till you return to the ground. For out of it you were taken, for dust you are, and to dust you shall return. And Adam called his wife's name Hawah, because she was the mother of all living. And Yahuwah, ALUAH, made for Adam and his wife garments of skin and clothed them. And ALUAH said, Behold, Adam has become like one of us, knowing good and evil. Now, lest he reach out his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat, and live forever. Therefore Yahuwah, ALUAH, sent him out from the garden of Eden to work the ground from which he was taken. He drove out the man, and at the east of the garden of Eden he placed the cherubim and a flaming sword that turned every way to guard the way to the tree of life. But Adam knew his wife Hawah, and she conceived and bore Cain, and said, I have acquired a man from Yahuwah. Then she bore again, this time his brother Habal. Now Habal was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in the process of time it came to pass that Cain brought an offering of the fruit of the ground to Yahuwah. Habal also brought of the firstborn of his flock and of their fat. And Yahuwah respected Habal and his offering, but he did not respect Cain and his offering. And Cain was very angry, and his countenance fell. So Yahuwah said to Cain, Why are you angry? And why has your countenance fallen? If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin lies at the door, and its desire is for you, but you should rule over it. Now Cain talked with Habal his brother, and it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Habal his brother and killed him. Then Yahuwah said to Cain, Where is Habal your brother? He said, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? And he said, What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground, and now you are cursed from the earth, which opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you till the ground, it shall no longer yield its strength to you. You shall be a fugitive and a wanderer on the earth. And Cain said to Yahuwah, My punishment is greater than I can bear. If you banish me today from the face of the earth, I shall be hidden from your presence, and I shall be a fugitive and a wanderer on the earth, and whoever finds me will kill me. And Yahuwah said to him, Not so. Whoever kills Cain will suffer a sevenfold vengeance. And Yahuwah put a mark on Cain, so that no one who found him would kill him. Then Cain went out from the presence of Yahuwah and settled in the land of Nuh, east of Adan. Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Hanuk. He was building a city and named it after his son Hanuk. To Hanuk was born Ayarad, and Ayarad fathered Mahuyael, and Mahuyael fathered Matushal, and Matushal fathered Lamech. Lamech took 2 wives for himself. The name of the one was Ada, and the name of the other Zallah. Ada bore Yabal. He was the father of those who dwell in tents and have livestock, and his brother's name was Yubal. He was the father of all such as handle the harp and organ. Now, Zallah also gave birth to Tubal-Cain, who was a forger of all kinds of tools in bronze and iron, and the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. Lamech said to his wives, Ada and Zallah, listen to my voice. Wives of Lamech, pay attention to my words. I have killed a man for wounding me, a young man for striking me. If Cain's revenge is 7-fold, then Lamech's is 77-fold. Adam knew his wife Hawah, and she conceived and bore a son, and she called his name Shath, saying, ALUAH has appointed for me another offspring instead of Habal, for Cain killed him. To Shath also a son was born, and he called his name Anush. At that time people began to call upon the name of Yahuwah.
This is the book of the genealogy of Adam. In the day that ALUAH created man, he made him in the likeness of ALUAH. Male and female he created them, and he baraked them, and called their name man in the day they were created. And Adam lived 130 years, and brought forth a son in his own likeness after his image, and called his name Shat. And after he brought forth Shat, the days of Adam were 800 years, and he brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. And Shat lived 105 years, and brought forth Anush. And after he brought forth Anush, Shat lived 807 years, and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Shat were 912 years, and he died. And Anush lived 90 years, and brought forth Kenan. And after he brought forth Kenan, Enosh lived 815 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Enosh were 905 years, and he died. And Kenan lived 70 years and brought forth Malalal. And after he brought forth Malalal, Kenan lived 840 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Kenan were 910 years, and he died. And Malalal lived 65 years and brought forth Yared. And after he brought forth Yared, Malalal lived 830 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Malalal were 895 years, and he died. And Yared lived 162 years and brought forth Hanuk. And after he brought forth Hanuk, Yared lived 800 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Yared were 962 years, and he died. And Hanuk lived 65 years and brought forth Matushala. And after he brought forth Matushala, Hanuk walked with ALUAH 300 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Hanuk were 365 years, and Hanuk walked with ALUAH. Then he was no more, for ALUAH took him. And Matushala lived 187 years and brought forth Lamech. And after he brought forth Lamech, Matushala lived 782 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Matushala were 969 years, and he died. And Lamech lived 182 years and brought forth a son, and called his name Nuah, saying, "This one does comfort us concerning our work and the toil of our hands, because of the ground which Yahuwah has cursed." And after he brought forth Nuah, Lamech lived 595 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Lamech were 777 years, and he died. And Nuah was 500 years old, and Noah brought forth Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And it came to be, when men began to increase on the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them, that the sons of ALUAH saw the daughters of men, that they were good, and they took wives for themselves of all whom they chose. And Yahuwah said, "My Ruah shall not strive with man forever in his going astray. He is flesh, and his days shall be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of ALUAH came in to the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. Those were the mighty men who were of old, the men of name. And Yahuwah saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And Yahuwah was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart. And Yahuwah said, I am going to wipe off man whom I have created from the face of the ground, both man and beast, creeping creature and birds of the Shamaim, for I am sorry that I have made them." But Nuah found favor in the eyes of Yahuwah. This is the genealogy of Nuah. Nuah was a righteous man, perfect in his generations. Nuah walked with ALUAH, and Nuah brought forth 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And the earth was corrupt before ALUAH, and the earth was filled with violence. And ALUAH looked upon the earth and saw that it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way on the earth. And ALUAH said to Nuah, "The end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And see, I am going to destroy them from the earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood. Make rooms in the ark and cover it inside and outside with a covering. And this is how you are to make it. The length of the ark is to be 300 cubits, its width 50 cubits, and its height 30 cubits. Make a window for the ark and complete it to a cubit from above, and put the door of the ark in its side. Make it with lower, second, and third decks. And see, I myself am bringing floodwaters on the earth to destroy all flesh, in which is the breath of life from under the Shamaim. All that is on the earth is to die. And I shall establish my covenant with you, and you shall come into the ark, you and your sons and your wife, and your sons' wives with you. And of all the living creatures, of all flesh, 2 of each, you are to bring into the ark, to keep them alive with you, a male and a female. Of the birds after their kind, and of the cattle after their kind, and of all creeping creatures of the ground after their kind, 2 of each are to come to you, to keep them alive. As for you, take of all food that is eaten, and gather it to yourself, and it shall be food for you and for them. And Nuah did according to all that ALUAH commanded him, so he did. And Yahuwah said to Nuah, Come into the ark, you and all your household, because I have seen that you are Kadash before me in this generation. Of all the clean beasts take with you 7 pairs, a male and his female, and of the beasts that are unclean 2, a male and his female, and of birds of the Shamaim 7 pairs, male and female, to keep offspring alive on the face of all the earth. For after 7 more days I am sending rain on the earth, 40 days and 40 nights, and shall wipe from the face of the earth all that stand that I created. And Nuah did according to all that Yahuwah commanded him. Now Nuah was 600 years old when the floodwaters were on the earth. And Nuah and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives went into the ark because of the waters of the flood, of the clean beasts, and of the beasts that are unclean, and of birds, and of all that creep on the earth. 2 by 2 they went into the ark to Nuah, male and female, as ALUAH had commanded Nuah. And it came to be after 7 days that the waters of the flood were on the earth. In the 600th year of Nuah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, on that day all the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of the Shamaim were opened. And the rain was on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On that same day, Nuah and Sham and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Nuah, and Nuah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them, went into the ark, they and every life form after its kind, and every beast after its kind, and every creeping creature that creeps on the earth after its kind, and every bird after its kind, every bird of every sort. And they went into the ark to Nuah, 2 by 2 of all flesh, in which is the breath of life. And those going in, male and female of all flesh, went in as ALUAH had commanded him, and Yahuwah shut him in. And the flood was on the earth 40 days, and the waters increased and lifted up the ark, and it rose high above the earth. And the waters were mighty and greatly increased on the earth, and the ark moved about on the surface of the waters. And the waters were exceedingly mighty on the earth, and all the high mountains under all the Shamaim were covered. The waters became mighty 15 cubits upward, and the mountains were covered, and all flesh died that moved on the earth, birds and cattle and beasts and every creeping creature that creeps on the earth, and all mankind, all in whose nostrils was the breath of the Ruah of life, all that was on the dry land, died. So he wiped off all that stand, which were on the face of the ground, both man and beast, creeping creature and bird of the Shamaim, and they were wiped off from the earth, and only Nuah was left, and those with him in the ark. And the waters were mighty on the earth 150 days. And ALUAH remembered Nuah and all the beasts and all the cattle that were with him in the ark. And ALUAH made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters subsided. The fountains of the deep and the windows of the Shamaim were stopped, and the rain from the Shamaim was withheld. And the waters receded steadily from the earth, and at the end of 150 days, the waters diminished. And in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, the ark rested on the mountains of Ararat, and the waters decreased steadily until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the 1st day of the month, the tops of the mountains became visible. And it came to be, at the end of 40 days, that Nuah opened the window of the ark which he had made, and he sent out a raven, which kept going out and returning until the waters had dried up from the earth. Then he sent out a dove from him to see if the waters had receded from the face of the ground. But the dove found no resting place for its feet, and returned into the ark to him, for the waters were on the face of all the earth. So he put out his hand and took it, and pulled it into the ark to himself. And he waited yet another 7 days, and again he sent the dove out from the ark. And the dove came to him in the evening, and see, a freshly plucked olive leaf was in its mouth. And Nuah knew that the waters had receded from the earth. And he waited yet another 7 days, and sent out the dove, which did not return to him again. And it came to be in the 601st year, in the first month, the first day of the month, that the waters were dried up from the earth. And Nuah removed the covering of the ark, and looked, and saw the surface of the ground was dry. And in the second month, on the 27th day of the month, the earth was dry. And ALUAH spoke to Nuah, saying, Go out of the ark, you and your wife and your sons' wives with you. Bring out with you every life form of all flesh that is with you, of birds, of cattle, and of all creeping creatures that creep on the earth, and let them teem on the earth, and bear and increase on the earth. So Nuah went out, and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him. Every beast, every creeping creature, and every bird, whatever creeps on the earth, according to their kinds, went out of the ark. And Nuah built an altar to Yahuwah, and took of every clean beast and of every clean bird, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And Yahuwah smelled a soothing fragrance. And Yahuwah said in his heart, Never again shall I curse the ground because of man, although the inclination of man's heart is evil from his youth, and never again strike all living creatures, as I have done. As long as the earth remains, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and winter and summer, and day and night shall not cease. And ALUAH Baruch Nuah and his sons, and said to them, Be fruitful and increase, and fill the earth. And the fear of you and the dread of you is on every beast of the earth, on every bird of the 𝐤𝐄𝐄, on all that creeps on the ground, and on all the fish of the sea. Into your hand they have been given. Every moving creature that lives is food for you. I have given you all, as I gave the green plants. But do not eat flesh with his life, his blood, but only your blood for your lives I require. From the hand of every beast I require it, and from the hand of man. From the hand of every man's brother I require the life of man. Whoever sheds man's blood, by man his blood is shed. For in the image of ALUAH has he made man. As for you, be fruitful and increase. Bring forth abundantly in the earth and increase in it. And ALUAH spoke to Nuah and to his sons with him, saying, And I establish my covenant with you and with your seed after you, and with every living being that is with you, of the birds, of the cattle, and of every beast of the earth with you, of all that go out of the ark, every beast of the earth. And I shall establish my covenant with you, and never again is all flesh cut off by the waters of the flood, and never again is there a flood to destroy the earth. And ALUAH said, This is the sign of the covenant which I make between me and you, and every living being that is with you, for all generations to come. I shall set my rainbow in the cloud, and it shall be for the sign of the covenant between me and the earth. And it shall be, when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the rainbow shall be seen in the cloud, and I shall remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living being of all flesh, and never again let the waters become a flood to destroy all flesh. And the rainbow shall be in the cloud, and I shall see it, to remember the everlasting covenant between ALUAH and every living being of all flesh that is on the earth. And ALUAH said to Nuah, This is the sign of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh that is on the earth. And the sons of Nuah who went out of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And Ham was the father of Canaan. These three were the sons of Nuah, and all the earth was overspread from them. And Nuah, a man of the soil, began and planted a vineyard, and he drank of the wine and was drunk, and became uncovered in his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father, and told his two brothers outside. So Shem and Japheth took a garment, laid it on both their shoulders, and went backward and covered the nakedness of their father. But their faces were turned away, and they did not see their father's nakedness. And Nuah awoke from his wine, and he knew what his younger son had done to him. And he said, Cursed is Canaan, let him become a servant of servants to his brothers. And he said, Baruch be Yahuwah, the ALUAH of Shem, and let Canaan become his servant. Let ALUAH enlarge Japheth, and let him dwell in the tents of Shem, and let Canaan become his servant. And Nuah lived after the flood 350 years. So all the days of Nuah were 950 years, and he died. And this is the genealogy of the sons of Nuah, Sham, Ham, and Japheth. And sons were born to them after the flood. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, and Magog, and Madi, and Yun, and Tabal, and Mashek, and Tyrus. And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, and Ripat, and Tugarama. And the sons of Yun, Elisha, and Tarshish, Katim, and Dadanim. From these the coastland peoples of the nations were separated into their lands, everyone according to his language, according to their clans, into their nations. And the sons of Ham, Cush, and Matsarim, and Put, and Canaan. And the sons of Cush, Saba, and Huila, and Sabta, and Rama, and Sabataka. And the sons of Rama, Shaba, and Dadan. And Cush brought forth Namrad. He began to be a mighty one on the earth. He was a mighty hunter before Yahuwah. Therefore it is said, like Namrad, the mighty hunter before Yahuwah. And the beginning of his reign was Babal, and Arak, and Akkad, and Kalana in the land of Shinar. From that land he went to Ashur, and built Ninuah, and Rahabut Aur, and Kalaha, and Rasan, between Ninuah and Kala, the great city. And Matsarim brought forth Ludim, and Anamim, and Lahabim, and Napatahim, and Patarosim, and Kasalaham, from whom came the Palashatim, and Kapaturim. And Canaan brought forth Sidon, his firstborn, and Het, and the Yabuzi, and the Amari, and the Garagashi, and the Hui, and the Araki, and the Sini, and the Arudi, and the Samari, and the Hamati. And afterward the clans of the Canaani were spread abroad. And the border of the Canaani was from Sidon, as you go toward Gerar, as far as Azah, as you go towards Saddam, and Amura, and Admah, and Sabim, as far as Lasha. These were the sons of Ham, according to their clans, according to their languages, in their lands, in their nations. And also to Sham, the father of all the children of Abar, the brother of Japheth, the elder, children were born. The sons of Sham, Ailam, and Ashur, and Arpakashad, and Lud, and Aram. And the sons of Aram, Auts, and Hul, and Gatar, and Mash. And Arpakashad brought forth Shala, and Shala brought forth Abar. And to Abar were born two sons. The name of one was Palag, for in his days the earth was divided, and his brother's name was Yoktan. And Yoktan brought forth Almudad, and Shalap, and Hatsarmut, and Yarha, and Haduram, and Auzal, and Dakala, and Aubal, and Abimelech, and Shaba, and Aupir, and Huila, and Ubab. All these were sons of Yoktan, and their dwelling place was from Misha, as you go towards Sapar, a mountain of the east. These were the sons of Sham, according to their clans, according to their languages, in their lands, according to their nations. These were the clans of the sons of Nuah, according to their generations, in their nations. And from these the nations were divided on the earth after the flood.